Om Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Ture Soha.
Please.
Welcome back. We will discuss continuously from yesterday's leftover. Yesterday we learned that what we see externally is simply the projection of our mind. So mind is the culprit of all creation, according to Buddhist belief, particularly in Mahamudra. Now, where this mind is not outside, it is not inside, it is not between, yet one cannot deny there's no mind. So what this point tried to actually explain us is, relatively speaking, there's nothing wrong to see things, to hear things, to feel things. The problem comes when we start to believe things as a real. Okay, so what ultimately it says is all are empty. It is emptiness, and this is one of the most effective tools to dismantle dualism, which we believe on, long time. However, we cannot even have attachment to emptiness itself. So, if I make it brief, even the thought of emptiness should be abandoned, which means we should not have clinging to anything, good or bad. We have to just let it go. It says, let even the remedy subside naturally. This is what the root text explains. So, practice of emptiness or realization of emptiness is very important in order to dismantle or what we have constructed mentally for many, many lifetimes. However, we cannot have even attachment to remedy itself, or else it becomes more dangerous. Because in order to dismantle dualism or attachment to things or egoism, one can practice emptiness. However, if emptiness becomes a form of source of object, then it becomes very dangerous. Then there's no other way to overcome this mindset. So it's like medicine becoming poison. If medicine becomes poison, there is no other way to cure our disease. Therefore, one has to look at thought of the emptiness itself, like looking at our mind. So even think, the thought of emptiness itself, the remedy will just dismantle itself. So we remain not just nothingness, but there's nothing to cling on.
所以呢，我们最重要。
I know this part is a bit difficult. Now, rest is the nature of all, basis of everything, which explains. So now, let's come back to mind. The nature of mind is the truth. It is the basis of everything. It is called Buddha nature. Now, even though we cannot physically find mind, this doesn't mean that mind does not exist or it exists. It is beyond existing and not existing, existent. So we have to look at the mind itself. Okay, what is mind? The self nature of mind is empty. We cannot find mind. Yeah? We cannot physically hold mind. There is no color or shape. There is no size of mind. So we cannot find mind. Yet it is not just empty. It is luminous. Luminous in the sense that it has a quality of knowing, the quality of understanding, and there's the ability to realize, recognize, and fully realized. So self-nature of mind is empty. The characteristic of mind is luminous, and the appearance of mind is spontaneous. One cannot make effort to think. It just, whatever it comes, just, like flows out spontaneously, like river flowing down, So this is what mind is. So if you say, what is mind? So this is mind. The mind is like if you see the nature, the characters of mind is like mind self, in terms of self-nature, it's empty. In terms of characteristic, it is luminous and it is spontaneous, okay? So this is how we can explain mind. And if you say, where is the mind? Mind is the one that now who is thinking, who is contemplating, who is observing the discussion, the teaching, okay? So this is called mind, That's how we actually point out mind. And you need to spend, a lot of time keep thinking about what we have discussed. So slowly, gradually, you will have a whole picture of what we have discussed just now, okay? So we will spend again 5 minutes just thinking, just observing what we have just discussed. So the nature of mind is free from all thought. It's like a sky. Even though we may see a lot of cloud in the sky, but sky never owns cloud. It is passing stain. Similarly, all the thoughts are not the nature of mind. It is called passing stain. So that's how we should see, look at our mind, and we should spend time and always try to see, as we have explained yesterday, even now, and this is how we should keep looking at the mind and keep learning. So the more you spend time looking at the mind, the more you learn and the deeper it goes, and that's how eventually we will realize what is mind, and this will bring us realization. So now we'll spend about 5 minutes looking at the mind itself, okay? So you can look at the slide. Yesterday we have learned about the sitting posture, sit in full or half vajra meditation posture. You can look at the slides here. Spine upright and straight, shoulder well balanced, right palm on the top of left palm, 4 inch below navel. Neck slightly bent, eye focus 16 inches from nose. Lips slightly apart, tongue touching upper palate, and your eye could be closed or fully open or fully closed. And finally, breathe normally. Okay. So this is how we should sit, and then focus on our mind. Okay. Make sure that you have to make some effort, because after lunch, instead of mind, you may start seeing stars. Okay.
你们在。
So how's your meditation? Good? So that's how, we should practice. And never mind, thought will arise and cease. One should never go after our thoughts. The moment you go after our thoughts, then it becomes a destruction, Then this will lead to another illusion. So let the thought arise and cease. You should be just doing whatever you are doing, wherever you're focusing. Your concentration should be always there. Okay? So once you end your session, each verses you can spend some time according to your ability, according to your time. And then what is also important is it says like in post-meditation, be a child illusion, which means, whatever that you see around you is simply an illusion, okay? So when you have such thoughts, such belief, then it helps us gradually help us not to have attachment to things, outer things, outer objects. So this is very, very important, and this will also lessen our clinging towards ordinary things. So one must have this kind of attitude, this kind of thinking throughout the day. We should see everything as an illusion. Like for instance, many illusionists, they are able to create so many things. Some are beautiful, and does any of these illusionists, do they have any attachment to what they have created? They will never have an attachment. They know it's not real, so they will never have attachment. Like magician, they may create a beautiful flower, but they will never have an attachment toward this flower because they know that it's not real. So similarly, when you develop such understanding, so this will really help us to reduce gradually to attachment to things, which is in fact the source of our suffering. So we have to train from now. So that's how we should train. The second point, we have briefly discussed how we practice according to ultimate bodhicitta. So now this is how we practice according to relative bodhicitta. So first preparation, actual practice, and then post-meditation. Now preparation, okay, how we prepare. How we practice love and compassion. Love and compassion is not just important for our spiritual growth. Love and compassion, it is also important in our daily life, not just as a practitioner, even with your colleague. If you are CEO of the company, if you show a certain degree of caring, a certain degree of concern towards your employees, and definitely the result will be very different. The workers, the employees will have a sense of belonging, will know that someone cares for them. So it's not just beneficial towards others, it is also beneficial towards oneself by sharing love and compassion. So now how we share this love and compassion? One cannot ask to practice with someone who hates the most. Suppose if you ask to practice love and compassion that you hate the most, it is impossible. You can't really practice. So we need to practice with someone that you care, and it is much easier. Compassion is the fundamental, principle. It is fundamental principle of Buddhism. And when there is a love and compassion, when you enhance love and compassion, I think you can feel yourself. you will never feel stressed, you will never feel dislike. There's a lot of pleasant, you will not feel pleasant and just happy. You know, moment if you turn your love and compassion into anger and jealousy, you know, you feel so uncomfortable that very moment. So there's a big difference between hatred and love and compassion. However, maybe due to our negative emotion, we tend to find difficulties, you know, to enhance love and compassion. I know it's not so easy, but when you enhance, definitely it will bring, you know, very friendly environment, not just with your family, even friends, with the strangers, you know. You can see the differences, you know. When you love someone, care someone, even somebody hurts you, or someone by mistake slaps you or pinch you, you will never find hurtful. You know, you may just appreciate it, you may laugh it off, or you may just accept it, you know, because they're so powerful. But someone who dislikes you the most, even when such person touches you, you get so angry, you know, and you can't stand even the touching itself, you know. So there's a big difference, and according to Buddha, we need to enhance our love and compassion. So how we begin with, of course, a loving parent. This is the object of love and compassion. Our loving parents, parents who really love you, who really cares you. Okay, so we need to think all the difficulties, how they go through in their life. You want to go with that first? Like for instance, mother, you know, who has to carry us for how many months? You know, the longest could be 10, 11 months. And during this pregnancy, how much burden and difficulties and inconvenience that mother has to go through. And you know, many of you, when you are a mother yourself, you know when you times of giving birth, how much of pain that mother has to endure. And at the same time, the father has to work hard to support family and going through all the difficulties. And until we grow up, until children find graduates, find jobs, get married, settle down, parents keep worrying. When we are young, they worried about our health and our education. Once we graduated, they worried about finding a good job. And after finding a good job, they worried about finding a good wife or husband. And after finding a good husband and wife, they will worry about what kind of child they will bear. And after, the worries continues until, someone dies, So true parents, there's so much of love, so much of care that they really give towards us, So we need to think about them, for a moment. When they are in pain, we should see as a duty, but one should willingly go and help your parents or children, vice versa. So we need to, spend time and think about this. So slowly we will understand that, okay, we need to respect, okay? So once we have developed love and compassion, true and love and compassion towards your parents or towards your children, then slowly you can share with your brothers and sisters, then your close relatives, and then friends, strangers, and eventually, one day you may able to even share with someone that you hate the most. So that's how we need to progress, and that's how we need to practice. So we always should begin with our parents. Okay? So according to Buddha, parents are not who have looked after this life, but then every parent once in a lifetime has become a parent. So similarly, we should have such care and respect for even towards others, because according to Buddha, once in our lifetime they have to become our parents. Now, in terms of actual practice, how we practice, so it says taking and sending alternately. Okay, so you have to just sit in meditation posture. If you find this difficult, then you just share your love and compassion towards others. If you find it okay, then you should practice. And I know you don't have to worry. If you send, doesn't mean that you will send everything, so you don't have anything more. When you take, doesn't mean that you will have all the sufferings to others. Because we are still ordinary human beings. We don't have this ability. But one day, when you are able to do this, you will never find it difficulty. You will never find it sad, because you will enjoy doing this like Buddha and Bodhisattvas. So how we practice now? So we just sit and sit in like 7 posture. Then you should visualize that I'm taking away all the sufferings and difficulties of others into me, and I visualize they become free of all pain and suffering. I take it all, okay? And then I give away. I send all my success, everything with the merits to others, and you visualize that others receiving your gift. So this is how we should practice sending and taking. When you sit in meditation posture, then you should just take. This is how we can also meditate. And then we can also practice through breathing. Like we used breathing technique yesterday. So again, we can use this another technique through breathing. So I mentioned yesterday, we need to breathe. And if you breathe in such a way, even your breathing becomes very meaningful. So this is how we should do it. You can just say, when you inhale, you just visualize that you are taking away all the pains of others, and it comes in the darkish color and enters from your nostril and dissolve into your heart. And then you should visualize that everybody is so happy and you have taken all the suffering. Okay? And then when you exhale, you should visualize that all your good things, your merits, will actually goes out from your nostril in the whitish color, and others receive your precious gift, and others, they feel happy, they feel appreciated so much with what you have done to others, and they feel all happy, and you should be satisfied yourself what you are able to, what you have just done, So that's how, even through breathing, we can practice such way. So we will spend 5 minutes, okay, sharing. Don't keep all the good things and throw away all the bad things towards others, okay? If you find it's too difficult to do this, I know you may not find it so easy, but I will guarantee nothing will happen to you, okay? You'll be totally fine. This is just a way to, have a positive attitude towards others. So if you cannot practice sending and giving, and during this session, what you should do is, you should just wish everybody happy, healthy, prosperous, and just share your love and compassion towards others. So that's what you do now, okay?
医生说你。
So each verses you can spend time according to your time. So practices, by practicing this way, even your breathing becomes very meaningful. Like Frank said, sometimes we do get angry, sometimes we get jealous about something else towards others. Sometimes we go through all the pains, different kinds of pain. So ordinary days, you are just suffering yourself. There's nothing much. You are suffering yourself due to our own action. However, when you apply the technique of Kadamba masters, even your difficulty can be fruitful. Like what Gwen said, when you're angry, and anger is something that burns you out. It's not just affects others, it affects you directly. So anger is something that we should never try to enhance or harbor anger. So, however, because we are still ordinary beings, so we can't overcome anger and we can't get rid of anger. So the moment anger comes in, you should visualize, okay, may my anger represent the anger of all others. Okay? So now you have actually changed this, act of non-virtue, defilement, transform into act of virtue. So your even anger becomes a source of happiness. So this is how we need to practice, because I don't think we lack anger every day. Every day something happens to us every day. Not just anger, jealousy. There's so many things goes on with our life. Go on with our life. So if you can somehow transform all these negativities into act of virtue, then your life becomes meaningful and full of virtue. So that's how we should practice. Like for instance, many times during our practice, we tend to, have many other thoughts, or we tend to fall asleep. Okay. So what we should do is, may my sleep or may my laziness represents the laziness of all others, or my sleepiness may represent the sleepiness of all others. So even when you fall asleep during the practice, it still becomes meaningful, but it doesn't mean that you need to sleep during your practice. Okay? So, the activities of Buddhas, we cannot limit in only one reason. Even sometimes one may not see this is a positive thing, but then you will see Buddha's activities helping in many different ways. Like for instance, many people told me that they have a problem with the sleep. And women will start to read Dharma books, they tend to fall asleep. You can see again Buddha's blessing is coming in different ways. So if you have a problem of sleeping, then you can read Dharma books. So this is also, one can say, the blessing of Buddha, so you can sleep well. So because then you don't have to take sleeping pill, you just read Dharma book, then you fall asleep. Post meditation, we explain the three objects, three poison and seed of virtue. Now, what are the three objects? Okay? Someone that you like, could be your family, could be your friend, someone you admire. Okay? And the second object, someone you dislike, someone that you do not admire, someone you don't want to be friends with. Okay? And the third object could be someone very neutral. It's not your friend, not your enemy, just neutral, someone like a stranger. Okay? So these are the three different objects. And because of three different objects, we tend to develop different forms of poison.
那么现在上师讲投射，
So, because of someone that you like, you admire, we tend to slowly, our desire or attachment tend to grow, which is also a kind of poison. And when we see someone that you dislike, someone that you hate, and then anger grows in when you see such person. Okay? And someone, someone could be neutral. Someone is not your enemy or not your friend. Then you what tend to grow is ignorance. Indifference, feeling of indifference. So, how we transform these practices are way to transform all the negative energy into positive energy. So how we can transform this? So this is what explains now. Okay.
那么现在
Okay. So if suppose attachment or anger grows within you, so how we overcome this? How we make this seeds of virtue? We need to apply the technique of Kadampa masters. So this is the technique. When you have attachment, one should visualize that my attachment represents the attachment of all others. Okay, that's the first part. Second, may all others be free from attachment. Second, okay. Finally, may others be free from attachment until they become a Buddha. Okay? So when you have such an attitude, even your act of non-virtue becomes seeds of virtue and meaningful. And I think this is meaningful technique we can use every day. And this is how we should use it. Because many times we learn so many different teachings from different gurus. These are all beneficial, but sometimes you may not able to practice such teaching in our daily life. However, the technique that we learn, what we are learning now, can be useful even in our daily life. Okay, so this is way to transform our ordinary life into meaningful life like the Buddha and Bodhisattvas by applying such technique that I have just shared with you. May all attachment of may my attachment represent the attachment of all others. The first, yeah.
this one.
The second one is, may others be free from attachment. Okay. The third one is, may others be free from attachment until they become a Buddha. Because the most difficult thing in life is to be with others, it is fact that we can't make everyone happy. But at least when we share such attitude, it is meaningful. This is what Buddha said. And even Shantideva said that, I could do everything, I could achieve everything in life, but one thing I fail to achieve is to make everyone happy. Okay? So, and especially today, you know, our space is getting smaller and smaller. You know, earlier people live in bungalows and so much of space. Now we are living in a big apartment, and now even the apartment is getting smaller. It becomes just like a 300 square feet in many places. You know, so we are always together and getting closer and closer, and this sometimes creates unhealthy living, which in the sense that our anger grows, our attachment grows, our hatred grows, and this is the perfect teaching that can be very useful in such environment. So we go through every day such situations, and other ordinary days this can be very harmful and meaningless. But the moment when you apply these techniques can be very meaningful. So you should try to adopt these techniques in your daily life. It says, use reminders in everything we do. So what we have to be reminded, according to Kadamba Masters, may all suffering of all sentient beings ripen upon me. May all sufferings of all sentient beings ripen upon me. May all my happiness and source of happiness ripen on all sentient beings. May all my happiness and sources of happiness ripen on all sentient beings. When you're supposed to recite this way, like reciting mantra. When you look at, when you have this glance of such verses, you may find it's very rude, very harsh towards myself. But actually, when you think deeply, this is not saying to harm yourself, but what is harmful to us is attachment. Because attachment is the one that will prison us. We may think that we are living in a free society, but somehow if you are imprisoned by our negative emotion, then even if you live in a free society, you will never enjoy the taste of freedom. Okay? In order to be truly free, one has to be free within. So this is what is telling us. We have time, you should just relax physically, mentally, and you try to contemplate what makes us unhappy in this world. Try to think very deeply. In fact, what Buddha said, and what according to many gurus said, what really makes us unhappy is our negative emotions, such as anger, jealousy, hatred, pride, makes us unhappy. And the main source of unhappiness comes from attachment to self and our ego. Many times you think, because I don't have enough, I have less than others, you always compare, you feel unhappy. And you say, somebody dislikes me, you are unhappy. Or somebody is more famous than me, you are unhappy. Or somebody is doing better than me, then I'm unhappy. And 99% of the time, due to ego, pride, attachment to self, makes us really unhappy. And you see all the yogis, highly accomplished gurus, are very happy because they don't have such ego clinging. And moment, when you are free from such ego clinging, and there's where you can find true happiness. You don't have to go somewhere else to be happy. Happiness is here. And only why we are not happy is because of this old negative emotion. So all the teachings, that whatever we learned so far, whatever teaching that Buddha and Bodhisattvas taught us for many, many lifetimes, is actually to destroy our ego clinging, attachment to self, all this poison, for these reasons. Probably I may have related this story to you. We used to have a very accomplished Lama who died long time ago. He used to be my personal tutor. In the monastery, we have teachers from different classes, and then we have a personal tutor. So they will follow you everywhere. So morning you wake up, you will see his face. So you are always followed like a spy. So we can't do anything. Always keep watch on eye. And then he was such an accomplished teacher. When he first arrived in India, place called Kalengpur, he doesn't have any documents. So he was arrested and he was taken to prison. And then he was kept in front of the officer, and the officer was, I think he was scolding, that why you come without document and you were illegal, against the law. But he couldn't understand anything. For him it was just scolding. And probably it took so long, and he got a bit upset. And he looked around, there was a mic in front of him. So he got hold of a map and he hit on the police head of the officer. So he was in prison for 3 months. He was in prison for 3 months, and after 3 months he was released. They said, you can go back home. And then he said, I have a request to ask to make. So what kind of request you want? So they got a translator, and then through translator he spoke to the officer. He said to him, can I stay longer in your prison? And the officer got so shocked and he didn't understand what he was saying. He said that, I like the prison because I can practice there. You offer me food, you offer me shelter. I don't have to worry anything. I can just stay there, practice and sleep. And also this is the best place for me to practice. And then of course they don't want to give him. So that someone is free within. Even prison becomes a bungalow to be, a beautiful place to live. But if you are not free within, even if you live in a palace, you will still find a lot of defects. So what we learn from Buddhism, what you learn from the teachings of Buddha, not depending on worldly material objects, but finding yourself true happiness within by following the techniques and teachings of Buddha. So this is how you can find true happiness, and without having anything, you can still be happy, So that's what we are learning, and we are learning how to be happy. So basically it boils down to change of mindset. And if you apply the techniques that we learn, definitely it will change the way we see things, the way we live our life, and we can make even our ordinary life meaningful. Okay? Now it says begin the sequence of taking with yourself. So before we can apply all the techniques that we have so far we have learned, how are we going to practice? Actually, you should start taking, because there's no one who doesn't love oneself. Okay? Sometimes, truly in Dharma sense, we don't really know how to take care of ourselves. You know, like for instance, we let our anger grow, we let our attachment grow, we let our jealousy go, pride, all the poison, we let it go, we nurture them, we make them powerful. You know, when I want this, we try to get it. When I want that, I try to get it, you know. So, we are not helping ourselves. We are bringing more burden to ourselves. Because attachment is something like drinking or salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. So we need to learn how to look after ourselves by not letting, you know, our poison, you know, grow, or our negative emotion grow inside us. Because this will make us really unhappy, and this will lead us to more suffering. So how we look after ourselves? By not letting this poison take control of ourselves. I think the reason why we have difficulties to fight against all this poison is, firstly, it's difficult to notice when it's coming. Secondly, when it's within us, we don't feel that serious. Finally, then, you know, it's difficult once it's within us, it's difficult to get rid of, you know. So, any forms of poison, the moment you notice, you have to address it and immediately eradicate it. This way, we can really find true freedom. We always think that, you know, jealousy, anger, or even pride, we always think that it's so difficult to get rid of. You know, when the anger comes, we just let it be, you know, we just let it get angry, you know. But actually, anger itself is not powerful. We are nurturing our anger and making more powerful. You know, the moment when you let our anger go out of us, anger have even no place to live. It's worse than just an ordinary beggar, ordinary homeless people. Homeless people, you know how to bake food, how to live their life. But anger doesn't know anything. You know, the moment is like a bacteria in our body. When it's in our body, it makes us sick, it makes us difficult. And the moment bacteria is out of our body, then it dies. So anger is something that is not powerful, but we are making powerful. So we have to make sure that all the techniques so far we learned, we have to use this towards all this poison so that we can find true happiness. How we practice sending and giving, it says begin sequence of taking with yourself. This is what the root text says. So we have to visualize, okay, I'm taking the suffering not just today of myself, I'm taking my suffering from tomorrow, or after 1 week, after 1 month, after 1 year, 10 years, or 20 years, or 21 years, a whole life suffering now. And then you have to just try to feel it. It doesn't mean that all the suffering comes at once, but this is how you practice yourself first with yourself, because you care yourself the most. So when you practice similar way, it's easier than practicing with the others. So you're trying to visualize. And at the same time, when you have all the suffering or difficulty that you face, you should visualize that this may represent the suffering and difficulties of all others in me. So this is how you can practice yourself, okay? I'd like to leave it here for this afternoon, and we have a last session tomorrow. So if you have any question, you can ask me now. And if you don't have any question, you know, I forgot to sign books yesterday. So if you have the book, then I can sign for you. Okay, I forgot this.
今天这个阶段的教法呢，我们的
Tomorrow is also a very important part of the discussion because we learn how the fourth point which explains how to practice in whole life. In this life, when you shorten how you practice briefly and how you prepare. Finally, how you prepare when time comes to go. So this is what we will discuss tomorrow.
所以明天呢，上师有4个。
Yesterday I forgot to. I was supposed to give blessing. I didn't know. I forgot. So today, after the fire puja, I'll be using this Tara statue. This time, Lama Jimmy in Indonesia asked me to invite this Tara. I have a Tara statue. Belongs to 11 Gharwang and it's supposed to have spoken. Normally I don't bring everywhere because it was lost then, History will be written in my name, So I don't want to be in that history that, I've lost Tara. So normally I don't bring everywhere. So this time I've invited this Tara. In fact, it nearly lost in Medan. We are coming out from airport. So everybody was rushing, erecting everything. And the most precious cargo was forgotten in the airport. We all came out and one Lama thought the other will bring, other thought that he will bring. And then we went back to the hotel and we had lunch and after lunch, where's the box? No way around. Wow, then everybody got so shocked, Then they would call airport. The box was still outside airport. Nobody took it outside, the way the parking area. Drop in, drop out, and drop out area when people, come and drop people, passenger. We left there and we left, and then the police found bag still lying there. Not just the Tara, all my bell and damaru, and my head, everything. The most precious is, of course, my Tara and my daily practice, So everything was in the box. So I think it's a truly blessing of Tara was there. I told my attendant, if you have lost that, you'll be also in history. Zurmang history book. Behind, so it's very useful. You can just read the root text and you meditate. Chikawa, who have written the 7 points of my faith.
那个书上有印出来哦。
Do you know this person? If nothing, we dedicate it.
We leave for tomorrow, okay? You all combine together.
So we still have one more session tomorrow. I know this discussion is big, heavy, and very deep, So you need to have a lot of thoughts in it, It's not so easy. Even for us, it's very deep. It's very profound, and also it's something that helpful in our life. How to make our life more meaningful. Every time we ask ourselves, how am I going to make my life meaningful? Just getting rich and famous is not so meaningful in terms of Dharma. How we can make our life meaningful is by adopting all the techniques, advice given by all the Kadamba master pick up there. They spend their life 10, 20, 30 years by practicing, by contemplating, by applying to in their life, and they found this all meaningful. So definitely there's a lot of meaning and reason why it is so important.
那么在 做回向。